Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in Legacy. Today we're looking at Eldrazi Stompy. Eldrazi Stompy is an aggro deck that uses numerous soul lands to quickly power out various Eldrazi creatures. These lands include Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, Eldrazi Temple, and Eye of Ugin. The best Eldrazi is Thought-Knot Seer since it acts as hand disruption, although all the Eldrazi are impressive when their costs are reduced by 1 to 2 mana. The deck's best sequences are those involving a turn 1 Eye of Ugin into multiple Eldrazi mimics, followed by a large Eldrazi to pump the team on turn 2. Matter Reshaper is a self-replacing beater, Thought-Knot Seer hand disruption, Reality Smasher the big beater, and Endbringer the top-end value engine. Endless One is weak early on, but scales up and can be part of an early Eye of Ugin Zerg rush alongside mimics. Walking Ballista is the other scalable X creature. It's also one of the deck's few pieces of interaction alongside Dismember. Aside from its beatdown plan, the deck leans heavily on Chalice of the Void, which can be played on turn 1 via Tomb, City, or Elvish Spirit Guide. The deck is somewhat resistant to counterspells since it runs a full playset of Cavern of Souls. Lastly, Once Upon a Time can freely find lands or creatures and does a decent job filtering cards later. Other cards the deck commonly runs include Mishra's Factory and Umezawa's Jitte. Sideboarding and Weaknesses. Eldrazi are highly constrained on what cards they can play due to being nearly entirely colorless. This gives very limited options for both the main and side. The deck is vulnerable to land hate, especially Blood Moon, since it not only shuts off the double mana from soul lands, but also stops colorless production from the colorless requiring Eldrazi. If the deck doesn't run a non-wastes basic land, Boseiju becomes Wasteland, and any versions that don't even run wastes are much worse against effects like Assassin's Trophy, Ghost Porter, and Path to Exile. The deck has no card filtering outside of Once Upon a Time, and so is at the mercy of mulligans and random draws. Eldrazi also has almost no answer for creatures bigger than its own, such as Merit Lage or Murktide. The deck's game plan is to beat down as fast as possible and/or lean on Chalice, Thought-Knot, and Wasteland to slow the opponent down. Games that go longer only get worse for it. The sideboard is mostly relegated to colorless artifacts, especially ones that cost 2 and can be played on turn 1. Thorn of Amethyst is particularly of note since it works well against most decks in the format and doesn't affect Eldrazi much since they're playing few non-creature spells. Tips and tricks. Eldrazi Mimic copies the last known stats of the colorless creature entering. Thus, you can kill the creature triggering it with a card like Dismember to nullify the stats change. Mimic's ability is optional though. If the Eldrazi player is foolish enough to still change the stats because they don't understand the rules interaction, the Mimic will die from having less than 1 toughness. If you're in a desperate situation and a random card or specific hate piece would be more valuable than Matter Reshaper, you can suicide attack it into superior blockers or kill one with your own removal spell. Matter Reshaper's ability only applies if it dies, not if it's exiled. Reality Smasher's discard protection only applies to spells, not abilities, but Thought-Knot Seer causes the opponent to draw if it leaves for any reason. Urborg and Yavimaya enable Eye of Ugin to tap for mana, turning it into a triple mana land for Eldrazi. They also give colors for cards like Dismember and Once Upon a Time. Urborg and Yavimaya enable you to tap Ancient Tomb without hurting yourself, albeit not for 2 mana. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Eldrazi Stompy. I want to thank my fellow players in the Magic community for whom sharing their experiences helps make these guides possible. You can find additional resources, such as an up-to-date deck list, in the description. If you think I left out anything important or got something wrong, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned to see what deck we look at next time.